Hey, and welcome to another episode of Perspective Shifted. My name is Andrew. I'm here again with George Musa. Thanks, George, for coming again.
Good to see you.
We've got a lot to talk about today, and obviously respond to a few people that have reached out to us over the last few weeks. So let's kick off, man. First and foremost, quite a few people have actually messaged us about currently being in an unhealthy relationship, or just maybe not satisfied. And they're saying, what are some of the red flags around, being in a relationship, and I guess what things do you stand for and what things do you not? So
Yeah, that's from the last episode. Yeah, I did get a lot of questions on how to ask their partners now. What do they do to move forward? Every day it's fighting. I told you last week I had a mate call me. He's in the same spot. Was an amazing woman. As soon as he got married, things changed. I think he was so blindsided by being in love with her and wanting to make things work that he didn't see the red flags coming. A lot of things like her toxic behavior and how, because she's having a kid, she now thinks, well, she's put the power dynamic up here. You're going to do what I say, when I say, and give me what I want, but you're not going to see your kid. That's basically what I got from our conversation.
And you had said this guy is probably the furthest person you would think would reach out to you.
He is a gentleman. He is funny. Look, we worked together for many years, 10 years, and we're very close. And he's an unbelievable guy. So loyal, family orientated, hard worker. But this is what he's going through right now.
Mate, it's I had a similar experience recently with a friend of mine who lives up interstate, and I happened to be there, and I ran into him, and I actually didn't know what was happening. So I'm like, "Hey, man, how you going? Kids, everyone well?" And it wasn't until I told him what my situation is at the moment that he that opened the door for him to say, "Oh, do you want to go outside and talk?"
Yeah, he felt comfortable then because you were being vulnerable.
Instantly,
he started to be vulnerable.
And he said, "Mate, I'm in chaos at the moment because my world's been turned on its head." And mate, we ended up we started talking at midnight. It was the end of a function, and I think we wrapped up maybe 3:00 in the morning, 3:30.
Wow.
And he drove me home, and we just didn't stop talking. And I told him about the podcast. I told him about all that, and he was and we talk now. Every so often we check in with each other just to make sure, and he just feels comfortable to have a chat and ask for advice. And
that's exactly what he needed.
Just someone. Again, we've spoken
one
about this
man
before.
to another, being vulnerable will open up for them to feel comfortable to start talking about it.
Men. Obviously, we're very proud, and sometimes we fear judgment. We fear shame or failure.
Don't want to show weakness.
Yeah.
Everyone's dad teaches them that.
And I mean, this is what this podcast is all about. It's shifting the perspective of you're a man, you don't have to feel anything or anything like that. To just say that you're still a human.
That's right.
And there are the right and the wrong people, but there are right people that you can speak to, and just get it off your chest. Because I speak to a lot of guys that share the same thing. They just have this burden. They just have this weight on their shoulders, and all they want to do is just talk it out. It may not solve anything, but at least it's out.
Yeah, when it's out of your head, but you can look at it more clear.
I said this in the last podcast, but I live by it, and it's to express it, not to suppress it. It's so true. But mate, let's talk about these red flags. Let's going back to that. What in a relationship? What are some of the red flags that you would say need attention?
Compromising your values and your boundaries, especially if you haven't set any. I think it's important early on to set boundaries, and a lot of people don't because they're so in limerence with someone. That feeling you get when you meet a guy or a girl and you go bowling, and then the next day, like, oh my God, I get to see her again, or I want to see her again. Like, I can't wait. And then that lasts for 2, 3, 4 months. And then when reality sets, that starts to fade. And then you think, hang on a second, what happened here? So then he's just split, or he's going out and way, or someone goes to someone.
And we're gonna talk about that a little later. In limerence, actually, that's a word you just taught me. I didn't know what it was, but you said it was an unhealthy infatuation.
Yes.
And yeah, sometimes blind love, it stops you from seeing facts. And what you said about boundaries, I can probably speak from experience. I had never set boundaries, and I didn't know what boundaries were at one point. In the recent times, I've learned how important they are, and how much. Oh, sorry, there's kids in the background. That's all right. The fact that you have boundaries really just gives you it's a way to respect yourself.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of people don't respect themselves, so they never set them. Because why? We always think we can't get better, or there isn't someone else for us.
And it's that people-pleasing mentality where it's like, well, if I tell them that I don't like this, they're not going to like me, or they're not going to want me here, and things like that.
Yeah, that's right.
But in a relationship, obviously, it's important to communicate between each other the things that you will and won't accept. And one thing I've learned about boundaries is that it's not a you statement, it's an I statement. So a boundary is not you're not allowed to go out at night on your own, or with your girlfriends, or with your guy mates. That's more of a demand.
Yeah, that's
where I would prefer that we, I would like your support to help me, throughout the week, and then we can go out on the weekends.
Yeah. I think when we met, you weren't setting boundaries.
Not at all.
And then I explained a few things to you, and you were like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. That's where the pen pal came from.
Yeah. Pen pal. Love it. The it definitely opened my eyes to, and it's not just a relationship. In a relationship, it's in life.
Yeah,
I've set boundaries with my kids. I set boundaries with family members, with friends, and more importantly, even at work.
Yeah.
So, and you respect yourself because you set parameters for people. Like, people treat you the way you let them treat you.
That's right. That's right.
So if you can articulate exactly how you want to be treated, well, then there's no guessing.
That's
It's not a guessing game. And if they don't do that, then that just shows lack of respect.
Yeah.
So boundaries is one thing as a red flag. I guess for me, any kind of toxic behavior, especially abusive, is just not acceptable.
Yeah, never.
And, use the words again, limerence. Sometimes people love the potential in people rather than the present people.
Yeah, that's right.
You can say, yeah, he's abusive, or she's,
But he's a good dad.
But I know they can do better.
Yeah.
I know they're stressed out now. It'll be better.
It's not your job though to fix someone.
Truer words have not been spoken.
Yeah. So it gets to a point where you got to respect yourself enough to walk away.
Or address it. Let's give it that option, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily giving it up too quick, but not accepting it.
Yeah.
And being able to communicate it. And then from that point, the decision is made one way or the other. So anything abusive is just not tolerated. And I don't think there's any excuse for it. People under stress, anything. Life is stressful.
Yeah.
So you're not going to take it out on your partner, the person that you say you love.
Yeah, but that's what 90% of people do.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I actually had someone, I won't talk too much because I know them too personally and they might be listening to this, but he is pretty much getting abused physically and verbally.
Oh.
But he doesn't want to rock the boat, and he feels like, I still love her, but I'll just, she's stressed. She's, it's all right. But you see him and he's miserable. And the guy's 40, he looks 65.
You can't live like that. You just can't live like that.
And he lives like he's skating on thin ice every day.
Yeah, but it's his fault. It's not her fault.
No,
it's his
that's
fault
right.
for not respecting himself enough to remove himself from that situation. right? And it doesn't need to be that you need to leave your wife or leave your husband, or sometimes just removing yourself for 2-3 months is enough for that person to change. People only change or come to realization when they fear a loss. If they always know you're there, they're just going to continue getting away with whatever you let them get away with, right?
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That was a deep sigh. Let's actually, one more thing is, I guess, a red flag is, and again, similar to what the story that I just said, is about just staying in a relationship because it's convenient. It's too hard to mix up and change and stuff like that. Or I'm just gonna stay together. I'll put up with it because I'm just gonna stay for the kids, or anything
It's
like
the
that.
worst thing you can do. How are you going to be the best version for your kids if you can't be the best version for yourself? Right? And it always starts here.
That's
So
it.
unless you're happy, you're not going to make your kids happy. You know?
And kids are not silly, man.
No,
They feed off the energy.
Yeah,
And the last thing you want is to raise your kids in a toxic environment, because that is the definition of what a relationship will look like for them in the future. And that's when you start hearing about childhood trauma and all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
And
we know what happens with that.
that's
Turn avoidant, and
yeah, we've discussed that in the last podcast, and it's a big thing, and I'm seeing it more and more on social media as well. A lot of people talking about
now
avoidance.
it's been brought to your attention,
Always
you can notice it more.
awareness is key.
Yeah.
Who was it? Nab said it in the first one. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
So awareness is key. Well, mate, let's turn the page and say a relationship has ended. So let's talk and I guess share some insight and value to people about the do's and don'ts.
I think it's the biggest asked question.
It's 100%, 100%. The do's and don'ts of the things to do and not to do when a partner leaves you, and that's obviously, to clarify, that is a non-mutual split. When one partner decides to call it
Just get up
quits.
and leave, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously the receiving partner is instantly in this fix mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're in fight or flight.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're more focused on trying to fix something that's already broken into a million pieces, rather than actually getting more awareness around why it's ended.
Yeah, that's right. Because chasing projects weakness, and weakness is not attractive. If you're constantly in someone's face and telling them, please don't leave, I love you, you're not respecting their boundaries. So why would they respect you? Right? I know, and everyone can own up to it. We've all chased and used another number or used another account, Instagram account or something like that. We've all done it, but it's the worst thing you can do, right? Reason being, especially when a woman has left a man, trying to reason with a woman doesn't work, because men think logically. So you want to sit down and talk about, hey, all right, look, why are we going to leave? Why are you going to leave me? We can work it out. That woman's basing leaving you off her emotions. She's not hearing you. You're trying to tell her, please, I love you, let's fix this. We've been together 5 years. In one ear, out the other. Her emotions are too high. Her respect has dropped. That she will not hear you. So the best thing you can do is start a no contact journey. No contact is a way for you to heal, even though a lot of people want to use it as a tactic to get someone back, right? I'm not going to talk to them so they can miss me and then they're going to come back. Never look at it like that.
It's that no contact that you're saying is more to protect your own mental health.
Yes.
Your own sanity.
That's right.
To some degree. And touching on what you just said before, when someone does choose to leave you, most of the time that decision wasn't made in that moment.
No, it could be 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months.
Could be years.
You don't know when.
So
all you know is they've removed themselves from the situation. You need to respect it. And it's the hardest thing to do. And at the start, no one does. Because you do go into that mode of, I need to fix this now because she's going to leave, you know?
Let's talk more than do's and don'ts. So let's talk do's. So your partner leaves you, whether it's a guy, whether it's a girl. What should you do?
First thing you need to do is accept that. Take care of your health. Find a hobby to keep you distracted. Work more hours. Whatever you like to do, just do more of it. Sitting at home, thinking and overanalyzing and listening to podcasts or trying to find coaches to tell you how to get your expert, it's not going to help. It actually makes the anxiety worse. I've been there. And I've gotten coaches and I've watched every video and I'm like, I actually feel worse before going to sleep, you know?
Well, that's how I found my coach.
Yeah.
Because I Googled the fuck out of what to do.
We all do.
And then I'm scrolling Facebook one day and this video pops up. And kudos to them for their analytics because they pretty much spoke through me. And I've got to say though, it's that saved me.
Yeah.
They really changed my perspective and gave me a new direction. And it's what we're talking about now. It's allowing yourself to feel in order to heal.
Yeah.
And you do have to, there is a level of acceptance, whether it's consensual or not, whether you've agreed to it or not. The decision's been made and you need to deal with it. But
Definitely.
I think it's important to not sedate yourself. You touched on doing things that you enjoy. The flip side to that is to not doing things to just sedate that pain, but actually feel it.
Yeah, you have to sit with it, not shut it out or just mask it. You actually got to feel it. The faster you feel it, the faster you're going to heal. So acceptance is the key.
And it's there's a level of self-care, right?
Yeah.
So doing things that serve you rather than, like you said before, running to change, get other phone numbers and Instagram accounts and, I think you mentioned cyber, like stalking, like, checking their socials, see what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. It's really not serving you. If anything, it's probably just putting the knife further and further in.
It does.
Yeah?
Trying to see if they're online or when they'll last online to get that fix.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing. It will only make your anxiety worse when you don't get the answer you want. So whatever you're looking for, once you've got it, it's worse.
Yeah.
You know?
So true, so true. And self-care is not just, again, diving into things that you enjoy, but it's physically, it's emotionally, it's mentally. You spoke, I think, in the last podcast about, even physically doing something, being active, that drives your own self-love, self-care.
That's right.
It's not just about looking good or having abs and all that kind of stuff, but it's just you treating yourself and your body well.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the best form of self-care. Another thing is, support. Yeah. You can't do it on your own. And I don't think, and again, I remember you speaking in the last podcast that you got to a point where you had mum, brother, or that, reaching out and supporting.
I had to. I couldn't get out.
And let me say it again, and I think we've said it every single time. There is absolutely no shame in reaching out.
That's right.
And the fear of judgment, although it's there, and a lot of people do feel that, it's something that you need to overcome quickly.
Yeah.
In order to be able to have people for you to reach out to people.
Yeah, that's right.
And the longer you do it on your own, the further down that hole you go.
Yeah.
So the biggest advice would be to be able to be in a position to reach out to people. And not everyone's going to be as supportive as the next.
No, and try not to take their advice. You're not asking them to fix it. You're just getting it out of your head and into the universe to just try and process it. Because a lot of people are just going to say, oh, don't worry about them. they left you, or she was this, or he was that, or he was an idiot. Don't take people's advice. You do what's right for you, but just don't bottle it up inside.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
That's such a great point. It isn't about getting answers or opinions from those people.
Yeah,
It's just voicing it and
That's
getting
right.
it out there.
that's right.
We've touched on it before, but it's not just friends and family, but even professional help.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with seeing a
not
psychologist,
at
a
all.
therapist, even sourcing some kind of mindset coach or something like that. And there's more and more of that around, which is great. I mean, it's great that there's more awareness around. Not enough, but still, there are people out there that can help.
Yeah,
One thing definitely as far as the should do column is also have time to self-reflect.
yeah. Don't rush into anything.
I think taking ownership of your contribution to the failure of the relationship is very important. There's no clear-cut blame, and I even hate that word. It's like, it's your fault. I blame you, or it's your fault. He did it, she did it. Even the person that's on the receiving end, and also the person that's ending the relationship should still have some time to reflect and take accountability and ownership for the things that they contributed to the failure.
Yeah,
I think that's really important. And we'll touch on it a bit later, but I used an analogy that if you don't take accountability and self-reflect, then you don't learn from the failure of that.
yeah. That's all right.
And it's almost like an open wound,
Yeah,
which means you move on to another relationship and you're still bleeding, you're going to bleed into the other relationship too.
yeah,
So it's essential to be able to self-reflect
yeah,
and not just say, oh man, I did this wrong. Say, yeah, look, I didn't do that right.
yeah.
And that's what I need to work on.
Don't be too critical about yourself. Avoid blaming yourself, being hard on yourself. Just reflect on what you could have done different. Obviously, we touched up on don't beg, don't plead. That's one of the worst things you can do. And another thing is don't isolate yourself. Don't sit in your room searching for answers. You can only control what you can control. Some things are out of your control. You gotta accept it and let the universe do its thing. You know?
That's- And reflection is the great form of growth too, because you identify things that, they're all lessons, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
whatever
right.
you didn't do right or didn't do well enough, that's the stuff you get to work on, and that's the stuff that makes you grow and become a better person.
Definitely.
And obviously time is, it's crucial,
Yeah. It takes
and there's no fixed amount of time.
no.
But-
and we look at time like as if someone is in the ocean and they're like 10 miles away, and then you think, oh my God, they're so far. I need to go and get them now. No, that's not how it works. Right? Time heals. So if you broke up with your ex and it's been like 3 months, you just think, oh my God, it's been so long. I need to do something about it. No, you don't. The longer, the better. And that's what people get wrong.
One thing my coaches taught me is to detach from the outcome. And that's it's a very, very difficult thing to accept, but very powerful, because going back to what we said about the fixing, all you want to do, and again, as blokes especially, we're just going, all right, cool, that's the problem. Let's
try
find a
to fix it.
solution and get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But if you can detach from that outcome and just focus solely on just growing out of the things that, you can learn from and do better and be better, there's the end goal is actually like the outcome is not really important. Yeah, I think you made a golden nugget.
Yeah. Oh,
thing
we
about-
need the nugget button. Where's the nugget button?
Oh shit! There we go.
As if you nuggets
I think whatever will be,
there. Yeah.
and as long as you're a better version of the person that you were, let's say, when it did end, that's the most important thing.
That's right.
Yeah, because you'll love yourself for it,
Yeah. And I think,
and that attracts.
definitely.
Yeah, people gravitate to people that have this
Neediness
self-confidence and respect.
isn't attractive, and rejection breeds obsession, right? And that's the main reason why you want your ex back. It's because now you've been rejected. So you want something even more. But it's just a story we tell ourselves. And it's not true. You know, so if someone was to leave you, we think, okay, now I've been rejected. Now I've been left. I can't handle this. My ego's kicked in. I need to show them. Or I need to do this. But if someone chose to leave you, do you really want to be with someone who's not choosing you? So why do we move forward and go into flight and be like, no, I got to do something. I got to do something about it. Why? That person chose to leave. It was their choice. They don't want you in their life. Maybe just at this time. But yet we think we've got to keep moving towards them instead of moving back from them.
Yeah, there's so much truth in that. So much truth in that. Because that's the natural reaction, right?
Yeah.
Mate, obviously we've said things that we should do. Some of the things that I guess people shouldn't do. I mean, obviously the first thing you said was about not begging, and that's definite.
Yeah.
Say that again for me, because I love what you said. Rejection
Breeds obsession.
Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah.
You like rebound, for example. Obviously, if people feel like they need to have that,
because
so they jump ship straight away.
Yeah, they're an anxious person. I mean, relationship dynamics, they're not based on logic, right? So the more you try and find a solution, the worse it's going to be, right? It's okay if you've begged, pleaded, and chased someone. But it's got to get to a point where you implement pattern interruption, which means you were begging and chasing and pleading. You were coming home every day from work and you're so anxious, you're trying to contact them. Okay, you've done it. That's fine. It doesn't mean you've ruined your chances. But now interrupt the pattern, flip it, and pull away. And then see what that person does, because obviously chasing wasn't working.
And let's be a little bit vulnerable now. Those should, do's, and don'ts. And again, in theory, and I guess both of us having experienced that, they are the things you really need to double down on.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, for some people, and let's say someone's listening to this and they're going through it, how much discipline is required to be able to do that in a moment of complete distress and chaos?
It's massive. And I'm telling you, it's going to take a long time. It's not something you can just snap out of. You know, days, weeks. It might take months. But you've got to get to a point where you can reach it.
Tell me, and I'll give you my experience, but I'll ask you first. How many times did you fall over when you were trying to, I guess, do some of those things that we said here? Those times where you had a couple of amazing days, and all of a sudden...
You have your good and your bad days, but I gave in so much for probably 3 months before I woke up, or I got to the point where I was working on myself and I said, you know what? That person's not fucking better than me. I deserve better, right? So this is me drawing a boundary, and I will not chase anyone to be in my life anymore. Doesn't matter who it is. If you don't want to be in my life, you don't have to be. Because I'm quite happy being alone. I'm on my way to being secure. I don't need anyone. Besides my daughter. That's it.
And mate, that's not that I'm attracted to you, just to clarify, but that is an attractive quality. Mm-hmm. Because when you're so good with you and yourself, you're not compromising to just satisfy someone else. And I'm not saying that in a very selfish way, because obviously there is moments of compromise with partnerships and stuff like that. But it's a level of you just being content and not complacent, but content with yourself.
Yeah, because when you work on yourself to the point we've discussed before and you don't feel anxious, you have a high intention but with a low attachment. So what does that mean? It means you want it to work out with that person, but having a low attachment will determine how long the pain lasts after you don't get what you want. And if you can detach sooner rather than later, the pain will be less. If you can't detach, it's because you have a high attachment, and that's how you push people away.
Now that we're saying that, I'll refer again to a friend of mine that I said I saw him interstate, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but I hope he's listening. We've had conversations, and it's almost like he's playing detective. Does that
Constantly
does that
searching
resonate?
to find a solution.
Trying to find, but why? Why would she have done this? She's got a beautiful family, a supportive husband. Like, I don't understand, like, why would someone do that? And that question why can eat you up for as long as you let it.
Yeah.
Because the answer is there is no true answer.
No, you can't control how she feels. Control what you can control, and that's working on yourself to build a low attachment to things. And it takes time. But if your wife leaves you, your wife leaves you. If your dog died, your dog died. The longer you're attached, the more pain you will feel.
It's quite the opposite theory, wouldn't you think? Compared to like in life about sentimental things and that.
Yeah.
It's quite the
hang
opposite.
on to them and
But I think the truth is that's a way of actually protecting yourself.
that's right.
It's a way of you being having a level of resilience to say to yourself, and to not only just say it to yourself, but really be convincing to yourself that I will be okay. No matter the shit that's going on, no matter what happens, no matter if anything else comes my way, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And if you can, I love self-talk. I've said this before. I have a GoPro in my car. I've said it many times. I do talk to myself.
Yeah.
Most of the time I don't even watch the video, but I record it and I just talk to myself to, again, voice it, get it out.
Yeah.
Because an internal thought is exactly that. It just stays internal, it festers, and sometimes you can create the worst story in your head that is the furthest from the truth.
You got to remember that someone breaking up with you isn't a reflection of your self-worth. It's got something to do with them, because we live in a generation where it's easier to leave and go to someone else than to stay and fix something with someone. And that's the sad truth.
And it's sad, but it's very true. And I guess if anything from this podcast, it's prevention better than cure. So it's about, and obviously we are probably reaching out to men more than women, but there are many women that have you've probably had women reach out to you and sort of say that some of our content has resonated with them. And I guess it's just important to be aware of it, because as I said earlier, you can't fix something you don't know.
No, that's right.
Tell me now, let's go, where are we going from here?
So a lot of, and it's probably the most asked question at the moment. What do you do when you get ghosted or they pull away? And as we said, the worst thing you can do is to chase someone. People can't miss you if you're always in their face, right? How can you miss someone? How can they feel lonely that you're no longer in the bed every night? If they go on to bed and you're blowing up their phone every day, it's like you're there next to them.
Yeah. It's not really a game though, is it? It's not. It's not this game of like, absence makes the heart grow fonder style, where it's like, I'm not going to talk to you, so then you miss me.
No. I think that if someone starts ghosting you or pulls away, either they're testing you for whatever reason, or they're trying to actually figure out if they do like you. And it's okay if they don't. You don't have to be liked by every guy or girl you go out on a date with. You don't have to go on a second date with someone. It's okay if you don't gel.
That's it.
Should you give people chances? Yeah. Don't just say, I didn't really feel it, like the last guy I went on a date with. Give people a chance, because a relationship is built. No one's just coming and saying, okay, look, here, Andrew, here's a girl that's...
Total package.
The total package. You got to build what you want together. And I think that's where... And I think women will do it a lot more than men. Oh, I didn't feel it with him. On to the next guy. Instead of going a second and a third time and seeing if that spark grows. If it's not there at the start, there's no limits at the start. If it doesn't give me butterflies, I don't want it.
Probably going off on a tangent now, but is that what society is at the moment?
Yes, 1,000,000%.
Wow, that was you were very, very, very quick to answer that one.
I don't even need to think. 1,000,000%.
Is there a case of do guys need to take on a first date to bloody again? I haven't been a part of this, but you got to go to Nobu or you got to go to all the latest. Is that first date stuff now? Is that an expectation?
As people are going to hate us to say it, that's what women expect these days. It is very hard to find a woman who doesn't care about money or looks. It's very hard. And that's just not me saying it. That's from me seeing 5, 10 different friends in the dating scene, them going on a date and just getting told some things. Oh, is this your car? Yeah, that's the car I drive. Oh, okay. Oh, no, I don't want to go just down the road for dinner. Can't we go to the city? These are the responses they're getting. And I think it's a lot worse if you're meeting on dating apps. It's just like, no, if this guy doesn't say the right things, I'll just reply to the next
It's like
guy.
a checklist, right? It's in the boxes.
Yeah, no, I don't want it.
And would you say that is because of social pressure, or is it that's what
social media has given people way too many options, and there's that many weak men out there that if you're not gonna wine and dine a woman the way she wants to, the next guy will. You know, I seen on that Catch Me Outside girl that she was on Dr. Phil when she was like 13.
Yeah.
She's 22 now. She just had a baby. She has her OnlyFans, right? And she started from 2022 to 2024. Take a guess what income she's made in 2 years from there.
Oh, man, I've heard some stupid numbers.
And mind you, she's not having sex on there. She's like doing like topless, holding her boobs or whatever, right? Ass and stuff like that. I think there's a bit of nudity, but it's not like sex or anything like that.
Shock me.
$77 million
In 2 years.
USD.
Oh, God.
USD. $77 million is how many, well, I'm sure there's a lot of women too, but majority of men are sending her money to get naked photos of her in 2 years.
Like you said before, I don't blame her.
No, you blame the men.
I'm like,
You blame the people doing that.
And how many of those men would you say are in a relationship when they're doing that?
No, it's probably 50-50 to be honest, but the fact that they need to see it because she was famous or being an idiot when she was younger. You know what I mean? They're fantasizing over it.
Society that's driven a lot by what the social pressures.
Yeah.
I see it with a younger. I was last night. I went out with a few friends, and they were like younger, right? And they would have been anywhere from 15 to 17. And I couldn't believe how they were speaking. And I'm like, if I was that age, firstly, I wouldn't be out. Mm-hmm. Secondly, just talking about what they were talking about, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like I thought I was speaking to 25-year-olds.
It's crazy, huh?
And whether it's for me, I'm curious if it's a social pressure to do because that's what's expected, or is it because that person genuinely wants? Like for example, when I asked about the dinners, is it because the girls want to go have dinner there because they want to see if the guy can afford to take them there, or is it because they want to show everyone that they went there
Probably
for dinner?
both. It's probably a bit of both.
So I guess it's what the values, like whether it's a guy or a girl, but like their values as far as what's important to you. You know, fine dining is important, or actually getting to know, especially on a first, second, or third date, right?
Yeah.
When you go there, you're too busy taking photos of your food and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How much time are you actually investing in
And
the
living
person
in the
you're
moment? Yeah, no, you're not. You're not. It's the reason why they want to go there, to put it on. Even like with me, Instagram, I normally post every day. It's been 5 weeks. I haven't posted anything.
with? Yeah.
It's just, obviously we made a TikTok. I started posting on there, chopping up some video clips, preparing for this podcast. And work's been busy, and then I've had my daughter a lot, and I've been like, you know what? It's actually been refreshing.
It's good because you're doing things that move the needle for you.
Yeah, and working on my race car, stuff like that, without any distractions. I've gotten so much done, you know?
That's a good thing. I know we went off a tangent there, but doing things about, you know, when someone pulls away or they ghost you, and, you know, obviously the key insight there is to not chase and just...
Yeah, try and recenter yourself. Ask yourself, shit, have I been over pursuing this person? Have I been overdoing it? Have I been too needy? Am I too anxious? Keep asking yourself that until you tell yourself something different. You know, if you keep having to ask yourself, oh shit, did I message her too much today? Or try and call her too much on private number? Or you know what you're doing is wrong.
Look, for me, just hearing the fact that you're calling on a private number, for me, instantly, that's a red flag before you even start. If you have to do that to get in communication with someone, you're not going down the right path.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So, yeah, look,
I think that if someone did that to me, I'd reach out once, just see if they were going to reciprocate anything back to me, and if they didn't, I would just leave it alone. Don't be clingy. Just let them be. That's obviously what they're asking without telling you. If someone blocks you or ghosts you, it just means they don't want to speak to you.
And I'm going to quote a podcaster. Her name is Mel Robbins. She's like a mindset freak, right? And she says it's the let them theory. Let them.
Yeah.
If they want to ghost you, they don't want to talk to you, let them. If they want to leave you, let them.
Yeah.
If they don't want to talk to you because they're upset about something, let them. And I think it's just so powerful to not have to chase to fix something that's just not your job to fix.
That's right.
Different if you've made a mistake and you need to apologize. But if someone's upset about something because that's the story they've created, let them. It's just so much more it's just so much more calming and for yourself to just know that you don't have to fix everything that's not yours to fix.
That's right. You gotta
and it's not selfish. It's not selfish.
No,
If anything,
no.
it's selfless.
That's right. You got to have a abundant mindset, because having a scarcity mindset will chase someone out the door.
Mate,
That's right.
let's move on and talk about, I guess, key indicators and some really important stuff about, you know, if you have the opportunity, I'm not going to say if you're lucky enough, because it's not about luck, but if you do have an opportunity for, you know, your ex coming back, what are some of the things that I guess people should know about and what to do if your ex comes back into your life?
The first thing you'll do is stay calm. Don't be so eager. After all, they did leave you. They could be coming back for the wrong reasons. They could be coming back because they just want to put a feeler out there. They could be coming back because they actually want you. How do you know if they're going to do it again? You don't know their true intentions. You don't know if they've worked on themselves. Don't be so eager. So if they sent you a message, don't reply straight away. They haven't replied to how many of your messages? Let it sit 1, 2, 3 hours, then reply. Sorry, I was so busy with work. not saying to not take them back. I'm not saying that. But consider asking them, how are you going to prove to me that things will be different or things have changed? Obviously, if you're not being needy and giving negative energy, they're going to know you've changed. You don't need to tell them, I've done this, I've done that, I went to the gym, I've lost weight. You don't need to tell them any of that. The fact that you're not just jumping down their throat when you were before, they're going to understand that you have changed. So definitely start considering yourself, evaluate your intentions. How do you feel about this person still? Do you still feel the same? Do you want the same things? How long has it been? Do I think that if they have been with another person, could you take them back? Even, it's been a year, they come back, you sit down, you talk, obviously you love this person, you didn't go and hook up with anyone, but you asked them, have you been? Yeah, I had a boyfriend for 3 months. Could you then take someone back that they slept with?
What are your
after
thoughts?
you?
What are your thoughts on that?
I've asked myself this question. I don't really have an answer until I'm put in the position. Because most people I've asked, yeah, we weren't together. Yeah, but did that person really love you then if they were just able to leave you, get someone else, and it was just so easy for them to sleep with someone else? Were they really in love? Was it really love? So, I don't know.
Oh, we spoke about the rebound. Is it because it was purely a physical thing for them and it wasn't even
maybe.
anything
Depends
emotional?
on how insecure that person is and what they want to achieve from it. But, a lot of people go to rebounds, a lot of people monkey branch, which we'll speak about that. And that is the worst of the worst, because that means you were still together when they were talking with someone else.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and going back to what we spoke earlier about setting boundaries, I think if an ex is to come back, and obviously let's paint the scenario as you are the receiver of the breakup, so now the ex is coming back, right? Setting clear boundaries as to who you are now since they left, being very clear and concise with what your values are now, because I feel that if that relationship ended, that's the relationship's done.
yeah,
There's no mending that relationship.
it has
That
to
is
start
dead. Whether it's a
brand
marriage,
new.
whether it's a relationship, that ended.
Yeah.
That's dead. So them coming back is not to kickstart that relationship. It's it's almost like coming to a new agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to start to get to know each other again, especially if you're both changed.
That's it. And I feel that's very important, because if you don't build new foundations, well, it's going to collapse like the last time.
Yeah.
And like you said, you really need to question, how do I feel when I'm with this person?
You might not feel the same when they come back a second time.
Yeah. You might still have the love for them, but
you might like the idea, but then when you're with them, you'll be like, you might touch them and be like,
it's familiar.
Yeah.
But is it what you want?
That's right.
And more importantly, rather than saying, oh, I got them back or whatever, is it a case of, how do they make me feel? Do I feel loved? Do I feel like because there's a level of trust that's been lost if someone leaves you.
Clear boundaries when someone returns to you. They have to show you that things are going to be different this time. Otherwise, you can't take them back.
Yeah, look, there's no greater advice that I could give is to set boundaries around that, because ultimately you can't go back into something that failed the first time or last time.
That's right.
And it's the definition of insanity, of doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
That's right.
So the reality is you're going into it with a fresh mindset, with a fresh level of expectation, with your own boundaries, with your vision, and does it align with that person?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't,
assessed your growth. Are you even ready to be in a committed relationship?
Yeah.
Are you ready to change the things that you did different. Are you even aware of what you did that was wrong or that hurt them or that drove them away? There's so much work that needs to be done from both parties, but people don't do it, and then 6 months relationship, it just keeps going on and on.
Look, it's about setting the standard and setting these non-negotiable standards of this is who I am. These are my core values. These are my core beliefs, and this is what I live by. And does it align with you? And if it doesn't, it's okay.
That's right.
We don't have to make this work just because you want me back or because I love you still or whatever the case may be. And you just got to make peace with that one way or the other. So
no attachment to things.
Absolutely, man. And once the relationship is broken, there's a lot. Trust is broken, and trust can be broken overnight, but you can take a lifetime to build.
100%.
So the reality is, it's not just accepting that person; it's also accepting your commitment to be willing to start rebuilding that trust.
Yeah,
and that's a long road.
Yeah, that's right. Weigh the pros and the cons. Is it even worth salvaging?
Because the excitement of getting them back is short-lived.
Yeah,
if it's not done the correct way.
That's right. You'll be excited for the first month, but then if she moves back in, or you move states or countries for them, once the limerence is gone, 1, 2, 3 months, it's just you, them, and then the relationship. So which direction is going to head in?
That's it. And you touched on it as well, but it's about the growth, right? It's about how far you've come since that breakup, and how much you've grown, as well as that other person, because that person may have not changed at all.
May have done no work.
Yeah.
May have done none. Maybe they just went from girl to girl, guy to guy, was stuck
just
in
to
the
fill
same
the gaps.
Same situation they've been in. Oh, it didn't work out. I'm going to go and try and go back.
And this is where, as you said earlier, everyone has a choice. And the choice is, it's easy to get them back because it's familiar or whatever it may be. But the choice is is it
right for you?
Do you love yourself enough to say no? And I guess that's where your discipline, that's how much your self-worth
comes in,
arises to the occasion in that moment.
Yeah.
Man, I think we spoke a lot about all of this, and I hope it's given some value to people. And I would love, and I would invite people to comment on this page, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, wherever, if they can comment or even reach out. If this has struck a chord with anyone,
yeah, definitely.
And we would love to hear what they're going through. If they even they want to share something and they feel a little bit comfortable with us, having now seen us on a few of the episodes. We're always up for a chat, and you and me both have spoken to people that you would never thought would have had a conversation like that. And I actually feel humbled and privileged to
help people.
To help.
Yeah, me too.
Because that's no small feat. And the fact that they're coming to you rather than going to maybe someone closer in their circle means that we're coming from a place of no judgment and no shame.
Right. That's right.
So, we'll extend the invitation to whoever wants to chat. We're always here to chat. And, don't forget to please like and subscribe and even share our content. That's super important. We're trying to get the message out. We have a few other guests that we're going to start inviting to the podcast in the coming months. So we're excited about that. And, we'll see you on the next podcast.
All right.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.